So, of course, I'm Easy Street from 96.3 WHUR. Sean, what's up, Sean? How you doing, Sean? All my bosses are in the building, so I gotta tone it down, you guys. Okay, so of course, you can catch me in the morning on 96.3 WHUR from 10 until 3. We got Raheem Devaughn tonight, and it's going to be an interview like no other. Okay, right here on the gram. In about 2 minutes, Raheem will be here, okay? But a few programming notes. Tomorrow morning, right here on the WHUR-FM account on Instagram, make sure you're following an exclusive interview with John Legend. It's going to be crazy, you guys. It's going to be crazy. Angela Shrivling, how you doing? Okay, so, really quick. So, a lot of you, if you're from the DC area, put a 1 on the screen right now. If you're from the DC area, if you're from the DMV, put a 1 on the screen. Hey, D'Amato, what's up? Latoya on Facebook right here, you guys. If you're from the DMV, put a 1 on the screen right now. Before Raheem gets here, because he'll be here in a matter of minutes. And let me tell you, the stories you're going to hear on this interview, you've never heard anywhere else. Okay. DMV. If you're from the DMV, put a 1 on the screen right now. Okay. Hey, Miss K. Hey, Lala. What's up, handsome? All right, Lisa. Okay, hold on. Raheem is here. Raheem is here. Thank you for that, Lucky. Let's get it going. We are adding Raheem right now. So, I'm just hoping. What's up, bro? How you doing, bro?
What up? What up? How you?
Good to see you, man.
I'm good. How are you?
Wonderful, man. Wonderful. So I already know you've been working this whole time, haven't you? You probably in the studio right now, huh?
Indirectly, yeah. I got a project that's being mixed, and right now it's a producer from Detroit, well known in the hip hop community. I can't say who it is just yet because it's supposed to be kind of like a surprise album or whatever. So
Ooh, wait, hold on. Breaking news, breaking news right now. Is something going on between Raheem Devaughn and Detroit's own / we're not gonna say who it is?
Yeah, it's a producer from Detroit, and basically we had this project that we put together, and right now it's being mixed and mastered at some point as well. And so I anticipate that will be out at some point. I don't know exactly the timeline for it just yet, but I got a lot of music recorded, man. So I'll definitely be putting out another album before the year is out. That I can tell you for sure,
Wonderful.
And
looking forward to that. Okay, you guys, I'm Easy Street from 96.3 WHUR. That is the DMV's own Raheem Devaughn. Love Kings in the building. This guy's been putting it down for a very long time, and we're going to go deep into the archives of your story. Of course, I want to talk about the Love Reunion. I want to talk about your foundation. I want to talk about you being an independent artist, but I want to start off, Raheem, with how you got started singing in the first place.
That's something that I always had a passion for and wanted to do. Probably once I graduated from high school, my first year of college, I really kind of jumped off the porch and really just started pursuing, quote unquote, my music career, my love for music, and, kind of just crash course, really just put myself in the line of fire, just understand what it is to be a great songwriter and that type of thing. And started going to different studios and stuff like that while I was attending Copper State College, home studios or what have you. Just getting it in. And, this was the end all be all result of just hard work, ambition, passion, dreams, the whole nine,
So in the beginning, and I was here, in the beginning, you used to be down on U Street at this spot.
Yeah. Definitely.
You was at Bar None, right?
Yeah, definitely. Bar None was a spot that definitely helped me, spread my wings and, get comfortable performing, you know, shedding and getting comfortable performing in front of people. You know what I mean? I was a part of various groups, Urban App 31 being one, the Crossroads, which is a group that is a duo group, features myself and Wes Felton,
Still one of
who's
my
also
favorite
from the
albums
area.
to this day, man.
Thank you, man. Yeah, you know, so we put out an album recently, you know, back in 2017 called Footprints on the Moon. So,
Yes, that's my
um,
joint still to this day,
yeah,
bro.
yeah, yeah.
That
So,
that ooh,
yeah,
I got goosebumps right now even thinking about it. Go ahead, bro.
yeah. So I just always, you know, these days I use more. I like to use more so use the Crossroads platform for like my socially conscious music and rebellious music and woke music. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um, and my Raheem Devaughn brand in terms of like, you know, graduating to the Love King of R&B, you know, and that's been more just it just allows me to do what I do best and grow and shed, you know, as a songwriter, as an R&B singer, as a soul singer, because I'm a combination of the both, you know, of those things, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I'm a fusion of a lot of different things musically, you know what I mean? And I think that those who really know, who've had the opportunity to dig into my catalog, um, will agree, you know?
Hmm. So influences early. Who
Mm-hmm.
influenced you early in your career?
Man, definitely Prince is a huge influence. Marvin Gaye, um, Bob Marley, Sade. You know, those are probably like my early influences. Earth, Wind, and Fire. You know, these are things I kind of used to just like listen to. You know, as a youngin.
So
Like,
classic soul, like what we would play on 96.3
yeah,
WHUR, right?
and then of course like I was also a hip hop head, so like Big Daddy Kane and yeah, I think that's where there's an edge to my music that
Especially in your live
people,
performance, bro.
yeah, and it's very you know, so that's I guess that's the Tupac in me per se.
So when you go to a Raheem Devaughn show, you get the best of both worlds. Let's talk about your live performance, man. You performed
Hmm.
live at our Sounds Like Washington event that we had at the City Winery a couple
Hmm.
years ago. You killed that stage, and man, bro, you on you. I'll just go ahead and say it right now, okay? I've
Hmm.
never seen nobody, and this is not a disrespect to no other artists in the DMV, but you are up here, bro. I mean, you probably
Hmm.
got one of the best stage performances that I've ever seen from anybody in DC. Why is
Without
that so, and how did
without
that happen?
yeah, and that's without the smoke and mirrors. You know what I mean? Like a lot of artists, you know, they may have access to things I don't have access to. You know what I mean? So, you know, I work within the means of what I have and always push it to the limit. You know what I mean? And you know, us as people of black and brown color, we're very resilient. So, I always find ways to, you know, when we down to be resilient or where the resources are not necessarily there and the finances are not necessarily there. You know, like every move I make that I've made over the last, you know, 10 years plus, going on 10 years for me as an independent artist, you know, even with my previous partnership, you know, with my previous partner with 368 Music Group, like I was the one like funding a lot of that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like, you know, you so a lot of times people don't see the work that's put in. You know what I mean? They only see the end result. And I definitely make it, you know, I've laughed and joked over the years and say like, you know, definitely what I do, I make it look easy, but it's a lot of hard work and discipline and other things that unfortunately you sacrifice. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Being fueled by your dream. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, what got me to this point was just really being focused on the goal, having a dream. You know, that something that I wanted to obtain. You know, there's a level of competitiveness that comes with what I do as well. You know what I mean? But I
Mm-hmm.
always, but I always show love though. You know what I mean? Like you know, whether it's in
Yo,
my radio, whether
and
it's in
we
my
see
radio
that.
space, yeah, whether it's in my radio space or like, um, you know, music curation these days. You know, while we on lockdown, um, it's you know, I've never been uncomfortable or like in my skin or intimidated by somebody else's greatness. You know what I mean? I'm one of those guys that will celebrate the next person's greatness. You know what I mean?
And we need more of that.
Yeah.
We need more of that. Now you have come to the Music Industry Academy, spent time with my students. I want to talk about your love and your passion for sharing your information with other artists in the DMV. And we want to talk about the Love Reunion. But I want to ask you this. This is Raheem Devaughn. I'm Easy Street from 96.3 WHUR. This is WHUR at Home. And we've been doing this for a minute. And trust me, down the line, we got other special events just like this. Raheem, you talked about independence. You never signed with the major label, or you've always
No,
independent?
So to be completely transparent, I started out independent, you know, with the Urban Ave 31 wave, the Crossroads wave. I did my first deal as a major recording artist back in 2002. I was on Jive Records from 2002 to 2010.
Okay.
My first album didn't come out to 05, so from 2002 to 05, I was just kind of like in limbo. I sat through a few mergers. They didn't know what to do with me.
There wasn't no albums, right?
Well, my album was complete. I mean, the album that ended up coming out in 05 was the album that was done. I mean, the only song that probably was recorded during the deal was Love Reunion, the actual title track. That was one of the first songs I recorded in the studio, you know, once my budget opened up, you know what I mean? But the rest of those records the album was already done. You know what I mean? Guess Who Loves You More came into the fold because it was a record that I'm always constantly recording. So I had never played that record for the label. And I just happened to just like, you know, we were kind of like in a tug of war, and you know, I had been waiting to drop music for so long. It was like, yo, you know, it kind of always come to a point of like an ultimatum, like either we got to put this out or I got to move on. Like, but you know, I like, what kind of records y'all want? Because I got plenty of them. And I just started playing records, and when they stumbled upon Guess Who Loves You More, you know, I remember Wayne Williams and being in particular, and Jimmy Manus, who was the A&R, of course. But Wayne had the juice, you know what I mean? So Wayne signed R. Kelly.
Yeah, Wayne, okay, from Chicago.
Yeah,
okay,
DJ Wayne Williams. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So you know, so like at that time, like R. Kelly was like the bread and butter. He made a lot of money for that company, like hand over fist, from a lot of different angles. You know what I mean? I mean, at one point, like I was the only artist that pretty much wasn't forced to go work with him. Like they attempted to make that happen, but it wasn't a thing where I felt like, and I mean this humbly, like I didn't need him. Like, you know what I mean? Like I had the hits, I had the smoke, I had, you know, my pen game's mean. I was very confident, and I knew I was as an artist, you know what I mean? So, you know, even the remix that came about at the time, like he did that on his own. Like that wasn't something that we sought out that asked him to do. I didn't even know about it. It hit the radio, it was already out.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And if you listen to it carefully, like, you know, he makes mention of like, it was kind of like the attempt of like making a mixtape, because you know like that, because you know basically to sum it up, how I got really hot in the street was jacking the beats. Like I was the first singer
and soul.
Points
right here on,
I was the first
on the
soul singer, like period, like singer to make like mixtapes. Like, you know what I mean? So now that's like the norm, you know. So to kind of like look back on history and be able to say that I was the first like, you know, R&B soul singer to make mixtapes and, you know, street albums, and you know, it go and they went crazy in the street, and then the DJs. That's how I got popping. Like, shout out to DJ Alizé. I see him checking in.
DJ Money.
Yeah, I would go to the clubs and go to the station and get cats a thumb drive, or that, you know, CDs were heavy at that point. It got to the point that basically the job was like, yo, this kid's a problem. He's gonna force our hands. So they got behind it, and they actually white labeled. They think I don't know it, but they actually white labeled. There was a white label, a vinyl that came out at the time. It had the Missy Elliott remix. I don't know if I could curse on here, whatever. I mean, it is. I want to still be respectful, you know what I'm saying? But I would say the P word.
You can curse all you want, but I can't.
Well, it was the Pussy Don't Fail Me Now remix, which is which is a real popular beat, Jack. I love how you give it to me, especially, and you ain't let me down yet. At the rate you're going, the love you've been showing me. I did that joint. I did the Mini Men. 50 was hot at the time. Like really 50 Cents and Mike Jones gave me I took their whole formula and just used it for what I did, and it worked. You know what I mean? I even had a phone number I gave out at one point. You know, I had the Nextel, unlimited calls, whatever. People, promoters hit the phone, fans hit the phone. It's crazy. So, like, I didn't see it at the time, but I was moving like a rapper. You know what I mean?
Yes,
I
very
moved
aggressive.
like the tenacity
you were
of
very
like
aggressive.
a rapper, very aggressive, in your face, and you know, and it worked for me, you know, and it still does. Like it works to this day, you know. Yeah, you know, it works to this day.
Awesome. So now, do you think that the label didn't know what to do with you?
Yeah, I think they didn't know what to
You
do with
said that
me.
earlier, but do you feel like they
Yeah,
didn't know how to
didn't.
market you and position you?
They didn't know what to do with me. They didn't know how to market me. You know, I had this very rich, mature sound, live instrumentation, but you know, I could go flip a beat and be in the club too, and they just didn't really know what to do with me. You know what I mean? So and no disrespect to Urban AC Radio, but I think it was a premature move where they just, you know what I mean? And they never really were willing to commit financially on the marketing side to push me as an urban artist. You know what I mean? And once, unfortunately, in this business, it's kind of like once you get labeled, especially as a black artist and in black music, you know, other artists don't deal, you know, other people in other genres of music, they don't deal with that. You know what I mean? But it's something
Right.
about our people where they put you, they want to put you in this box where they say, well, you black, you can't do country music, or you can't rap and sing, or you can't be like neo soul with a twist of R&B and rock. And like, you know, my first album, I had a rock song on there. You know, I had about 4 or 5 socially conscious songs. Then I had songs where, you know, where I sang over samples like Until. So it was a lot of different elements to my music, and you know, and that shape and mold me, you know, and so and that's how it should be, you know what I mean? That's how the culture should be, you know what I mean? So like, you know, and I think that's what's made me kind of stand out. You know, I time and time again you hear people talk about and say that, you know, I should be bigger than what I am or what have you, but I'm cool. Like I got my own. I have what you call a cult following. I definitely feel like I have my own lane. You know what I mean?
Oh,
And
definitely.
I used to kind of beat myself up about it, or kind of like frown upon it, like almost like turn my light down. You know what I mean? And it didn't really get to like, you know, I used to always say, when I interviewed artists, I'd say, you know, or I tell them like, well, you know, no artist is truly defined until they get into their 5th or 6th album. I still feel that way. So I feel like that really, that goes for me as well. And I feel like once I put out the Decade of a Love King project, back in 2018, like that was because you know, it's called Decade of a Love King for a reason, you know what I mean? And the Love Reunion album in particular was the album that I could say that where I became a master of my artistry. Like that took me, you know, 13, 14, 15 years to get there, you know what I mean?
Wow.
Like where I feel like I'm actually a master of what I do. Like I can go in the studio and I'm a perfectionist now. You know what I mean? Where now, but I would go and listen. I can just even listen to some of the old, you know, I listened to my first album. You know, while we've been on quarantine, we've been having we have Throwback Tuesdays, you know, on my IG, where we've been listening to each album weekly. You know what I mean? So ironically, next weekend is album 7, so I got to. I'm going. It looks like we may be quarantining a little longer, so I'm gonna have to get creative. But you know, with my quarantine schedule for my audience, but yeah, like I can proudly say like yeah, I feel like I'm a master at what I do.
You
You know
do.
what I mean?
Yeah, you are definitely that. I mean, anybody that's heard your music or seen you perform live can see that you are in a class by yourself, that you're a legend, and there is nobody in your lane at all. You have created a lane all by yourself. I want to ask you this because you talked about the Footprints in the Sand. You talked about the Footprints album with you and Wes. And when this
Footprints on
album
the Moon.
came out,
Yeah, Footprints on the Moon. Yep.
Footprints on the Moon. When this album came out, I listened to this joint for like, and I know I DM'd you. I was like, for like 2-3 weeks straight, I didn't listen to anything else. And one of the reasons why I think that album right there really hit me like right here in my spirits, because very rarely do we hear R&B artists talk about socially conscious issues. So I want to know why you thought that was important to do.
It's always important. I mean, that's kind of like, it's where I started. It's always been a part of me. You know, my first project was called The Healing, which we do what we call Woke Wednesdays as well for my quarantine schedule. You know what I mean? So like midnight, like Tuesdays rolling over into Wednesday mornings, you know, I play like, you know, some of my conscious projects, you know, like The Healing. We still haven't tested the Crossroads stuff yet, which is coming up soon. But, man, it's important. You know what I mean? As artists, we don't, you know, you're going to be given a choice, a decision to make. And ultimately, it's your decision to make. You know what I mean? And that decision ultimately is like, do you want to be, you know, you got some cats that are quote unquote puppet, like industry puppets. You know what I mean? Like, you know, somebody can just put the battery in your back and you for whatever. Right. And then you have some people that's going to like consciously think out where they want to be 15 years from now, how they want to be remembered, what's the legacy you're creating, what's the message. Because, you know, because of my hip hop influence and what I do, I understood that, you know, much like, you know, with hip hop, once you pick a lane, you got to commit to it. You know what I mean? So if you gun toting Johnny, you know what I mean? On every you know, Mr. Stick Up Kid, Mr. Invincible, Mr. Bulletproof, at some point, somebody is going to call you out on that.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know, so just like, you know, if I make a conscious decision, so, you know, it's easy to make a record and disrespect myself or disrespect a female on a record, and you know what I'm saying, and make it sound trendy and make it, you know what I'm saying, and just you know what I'm saying, and but it's a challenge to be creative and to say how you gonna take that message and flip it. Like on the Decade of a Love King project, I got a record called Wifey, where I say, baby, you look like wifey, like wifey, like wifey, like wifey. And then I say, you ain't no bitch, you ain't no hoe, you ain't no freak. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of like me taking those same words that's used to, like, tear our women down, you know what I mean? And kind of, like, recognize it. It's like, because you can definitely be a freak. Like, you got to be a freak. You know what I mean? But you know what I'm saying? Like, when they use it as a,
here comes
as a dirty stigmatization.
The monster's coming out now.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I just, you know, again, it's you know, at the end of the day, it's my art, it's my choice, it's my life. You know, do I feel like that I've you know, that I get put in a certain lane or stand out like the black sheep sometimes? Definitely. You know what I mean? But hey, at the end of the day, you know, the shows will continue to sell out. My audience will continue to grow, you know, because that's also a goal, you know, tapping into slowly but surely, like I'm tapping into the new millennials, like, and I see it because, you know, at the shows you got mothers that come with the daughters and the grandmothers. That's like 3 generations, you know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay, this is Raheem Devaughn, WHUR at Home, an exclusive interview that you're watching right now. And I thank you so much for tuning in. Raheem, I want to talk to you about this, man, because it's very obvious you've never been one-dimensional from the beginning. In the content of your music, you as an artist, you've done pretty much everything. You made a record, though. This is an anthem. The anthem record you did for Woman.
Okay, yeah.
Let's talk about the making of that. Why did you feel that record had to be made #1, and I want you to tell me about the process of creating that record and what you remember as far as writing it and going into the studio.
Yeah, after the success of the Love Experience album, and solidifying myself as a global recording artist, national recording artist, global recording artist, I think there was some pressure put on me from an A&R in particular, but it was good pressure. You know what I mean? And it was I had a very humbling moment. And I'll never forget that. And so I take that lesson and I apply it to myself. I take that lesson to artists that I mentor or work with, or from a label or management standpoint, and tell them the same thing at times. And it was just like, basically, I remember walking into Job Records one day, and there's a new A&R. His name was Jeff Finster. And I told him that my album was done, and, I came in on some like, yo, the album's done, feeling myself a bit. And he was like, done? Like, you ain't done? Like, I don't think you even scratching the surface of what you can do. Right? Mm-hmm. And it was between, and then he started naming tracks. He was like, where's your this? Where's your that? And one of the things he said is like, where's your you? Now that's a gift and a curse of A&Rs. Like it's a bad habit they have, even now, where they want you to chase the last big record or the last big anthem. But he did have a point though. Like, as I thought about it and I walked away from that meeting and was like, he's right. Where is my you? Where's that one song that every woman can identify with on this body of work, which was Love Behind the Melody I was working on at the time, my sophomore album. Where's that one song that every woman can identify with that record to feel like, hey, this record is about me, no matter how old they are, no matter whether it's plus size or petite, black, white, Native American, Asian, Latino, whatever, right? So I left there feeling challenged, and I'm always up for a good challenge for somebody to tell me that I don't have something or I'm not capable of doing something, or just simply for somebody to tell me no, right? And I remember getting in touch with Chucky Thompson, who I had been spending some time with as of late, and me and Chucky, we go back back to Bad Boy days when I would be at his studio. I was like an intern. I don't know if I was even what I was, like an intern, but I had infiltrated. He had an office in Southeast. I did my research and I figured out a way to get in there, and I got in, and I would just be there just hanging around. Like, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And it would just be like, oh, all right, that's Raheem. All right, hey, you know what I mean? And to kind of just do whatever I was asked to do that made sense, and, sleep on the couch and be there in the morning, and, the whole thing. So anyway, I reached out to Chucky because I feel like this would be an opportune time for us to work together. And that's how that record came about. You know what I'm saying? Myself, it was another brother in the studio. I can't remember his name, and Keontae, who's a phenomenal artist who sang background for me for a few years. Was involved in that record as well from a production standpoint. And I remember kind of like, I want to say like Lost Ones with Chrisette Michele, Jay-Z Chrisette Michele was out at the time. And I was like, yo, I want something that kind of feels like that, mm-hmm. but a little more soulful, you know what I'm saying, with a 1-2 hop step to it. And once the music was to my liking, like, I went in and the record was probably done about 3 hours later. And I remember. Wait a minute,
hold. You did the record in 3 hours?
Yeah, like 3-4 hours. I'll do 3-4 records a day. Like,
okay,
I'm in my flow.
You wrote the song, then you said the recording process was 3 hours?
No, I didn't write anything. We go in the studio, cut the mic on, and then I get busy.
Okay, 3 hours.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I get busy. So, but it's not, my writing process happens very improvisational. Like, I guess you could say I'm like a freestyle writer. Okay. So I don't do it all in one take, but it just starts to flow. It just is, I can't explain it. Like, it flows, and 2-3 hours later, like, it's like boom. Once I got the concept, sometimes I start with the hook, sometimes I start with the verse. You know what I mean? But I think that record I may have started with the hook, did the verses first, and then did the hooks last. You know what I mean? And then followed by the ad libs. You know what I mean? But I really do this. Each record's different. You know what I mean? There are records I've recorded where literally I started with the vamp of the record first, like whatever, like the chains of the vamp, then the hook, or I'll do the vamp, then the hook, then do the ad libs over the hook, ad libs over the vamp, and then come in and just do the verses last. And it's just like a jigsaw puzzle. When I'm in there, it's like taking a puzzle, just throwing it on the table, and then just putting it together. You know what I mean? Everybody reaches for different pieces, but if you get the puzzle done, the puzzle's done, right?
Right. So when the puzzle was done, do you remember the first woman that you played this record for? And what was her reaction? Do you remember that?
Nah, I don't. I just remember.
Well, when the record came out,
I kind of didn't. I don't even know if I knew. I don't know if I knew that it was going to be as big as it was. I'll be honest.
Really?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. At that point in my career, I was so like, not, because I'm not the type to celebrate too much. It's like I create something, I do it, and then not that I just discard it, but I'm kind of on to the next thing, because I understand that, like, in this business, you as great as your last song, you as great as your last body of work, you as great as the last performance. You know what I mean? You know, I've been doing online performances while we've been on lockdown. You know, shout out to all the fans that have been supporting as well.
Yeah, I saw the
Queen Nation. Yeah, it's like
that.
Make your own ticket price, that whole thing, you know. and yeah, because it's real right now, you know. So and to add, I've been independent for like 10 years, so I'm, you know, so I don't have like, it's no label I can call to go be like, you know, hey, I need 100K while we, you know what I mean, on lockdown, like, you know what I mean. So and I'll give you 3 more albums, or, you know what I mean? It ain't none of that. So it's one of those things where I always just been like a hustler, like, but also we are in a business where there's a saying where they say you only get one time to make a first impression. This is one of the few businesses that we're in where that don't count. Every time you put out a new body of work, that's an opportunity to make a first impression. You know what I mean? That's why you got artists that can throw things to the wall. Some stuff stick, some stuff don't. But they've done it. But they've done enough sticking for you to know that, like, okay, this person is one of the greats. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? So you just don't. You know, everybody's had a few. When you put that wrong single out, or you just don't resonate, and you know what I mean? Because they may have the resources or the PR budgets to kind of like where you don't really feel it or hear the sting as much. Right. But yeah, like, you know, so and knowing that, I guess I was just kind of just in work mode. So I just remember looking up and that record just being like #1 for a whole summer. Right. And I was at a period in my life too, Easy, where I didn't pay attention to certain things in terms of like the charts and really knowing the importance and the science to it. Because if I knew what I knew then, what I know now, and had I known it then, it'd have been like I'd have really went crazy on it. You know what I mean?
Somebody told me that you got people that they're gym rats. They hang out in the gym. They stay in the gym 24/7. Somebody told me that you're a studio rat, that you stay in the studio and you record constantly. Is that true?
I don't know about rat. I'm a guy, studio guy.
Okay, the studio guy.
I know what you're saying. Yeah, definitely.
Is that true?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, right now I miss being in the studio, and it is actually open for business, and I can go. I just kind of move when the spirit tell me to move, but like I ain't tripping off of going right now, because I know that I have so much. I got enough music recorded. I could drop an album for the next 15 years every 9 months.
Wow.
And maybe an EP or 2 in between. You know what I'm saying?
Songs already recorded and
already
ready to go?
Yeah.
So if we had to put a number on it, how many songs are you keeping track at all?
that's kind of hard to do. I mean, it got to the point where I started backlogging the albums and kind of like just structuring them. You know what I mean? So I got projects where it's like, boom, they're already kind of structured. In some cases, the business has already been worked out on them, or I got a great relationship with the producer, so they're like, yo, we good on that. I'll just hold it till you ready to use it. You know what I mean? But like, yeah, man, like no exaggeration, like where they say no cap.
Right.
Yeah,
No
like I got a lot of music recorded, bro.
So Love Reunion came out last year, late last year. This, of course, we're playing some of it on 96.3 WHUR. I want to give you an opportunity to talk about this album because it's a little bit different from some of your past work.
I think Love Reunion is just like it's boom, there it is right there. It's available on all digital platforms. I think it's just my greatest body of work to date. Ironically, it's album number 7. My first album, The Love Experience, dropped on June 28, 2005, and by
classic,
by God's plan, this album dropped June 28th, 2019.
Right.
So you know what I'm saying? It's like it just kind of like it brings it kind of all full circle for me again. I think for me again, what's special about this project in particular is that I tapped into my master, what's the word I'm looking for? My master level, you know what I mean? Like I've become a master at what I do. And in knowing that, I still know I can be better. You know what I mean? Like I know I can be better because the reality is nobody's perfect, you know what I mean? So you can strive to be a perfectionist, but I just want to push this soul and R&B thing to the limit, you know what I mean? And look up, you know what I mean, 20 years from now and look back on it, you know what I'm saying? From this 20, which will be in no time, and be able to just be one of those sustainable voices and performers, and that the same reason why cats dress up and throw in their white to go see Frankie Beverly and Maze. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Okay, let's go beyond the music, then we're gonna wrap this up, man. Raheem, we were at an event together for, I believe it was like a book bag giveaway in Prince George's County at the Sports and Learning Center with Angela Also Brooks. Of course, I was broadcasting live on 96.3 WHUR that day. And I remember you stopped your show, or maybe it was at the end of your show. You brought all the kids over to you. You cut the music off and you prayed with the kids.
Yeah, because we was in that time, man. You know what's crazy? Like leading up to this, I think if those is in tune with the universe, just kind of know what's going on. Like there was a sense of uneasiness that was kind of like brewing in the air. You know what I mean? And I kind of felt it. Like it was just like, and I just, so for whatever reason, that's how I was moving that day. And, here we are now where we all forced to like stand still and kind of sit still and reevaluate things. And, we all flawed, you know what I'm saying, in our own way. So it's not really a time to really judge somebody else, but just kind of just really like also be appreciative for the simple things that matter. You know what I mean? And to realize the things that matter to you and who matter to you and who your supporters are. And because the truth is, Evie, like, just like there's some corporations that's not going to bounce back from this, it's some artists that's going to disappear. They'll never be heard from again. Wow. You know what I mean? Because just that's just what it's going to be. You know what I mean? And that's not nothing to necessarily celebrate about, because I want to see everybody win. But it's the reality is that I do hope that not just on a R&B and sexual level or a love level, but on a conscious level, that I put out a frequency that the frequency of like love, you know what I'm saying? Just good vibrations is You know what I mean? And
High
like,
vibrations, very
yeah,
high.
and it's been some like really dark frequencies that's been out there that just kind of like right now you ain't gonna hear that some certain things, or you ain't gonna see certain things being celebrated because one can't relate to it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like, so it's going. So this time, as far as like the artistry, um, you know, yes, we are in a transition. The world is changing. You know what I mean? But it don't mean that you stop completely and just like disarray and just don't work. If I don't work, my kids don't eat. You know what
Exactly.
I'm saying? Like I got a lot
Right.
of people that depend on me. You know what I mean? Um, so you know, you still have to you got to adapt to the change and to the culture. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I think that's what I'm best at. You know what I mean? So I just, you know, me, I'm just kind of just taking it day by day and rocking out. But you know, I got a full quarantine schedule, concerts included. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just by looking at your timeline, and I want everybody to follow Raheem, you will see that you got it laid out. You have it programmed like a radio station, bro.
Oh yeah, no doubt. You know, and I take a couple of days off. You know what I mean, to regroup mentally and you know what I mean. But like the people's moving with me, they rocking with it, and I appreciate it. And I'm rocking with y'all too, man. It's all good. Yeah.
Now, talk about your foundation. You've been doing some great work for a
Hmm.
number of years
Hmm.
with the foundation. Let everybody know that doesn't know about your foundation.
Yeah, it's called the Love Life Foundation. We advocate to fight domestic violence for women, children, and men globally. We have a partnership with the AHF, which is the AIDS Healthcare Foundation, which they're now transitioning into affordable living is their main focus right now, and for people that are displaced um, due to inflation on the rent and you know just different apps and things you have where where people can lease out their homes, and just it's just crazy. Like in LA, it's that's what kind of like really leading the homeless issue they have out there. You know what I mean? Now with COVID, it's just kind of like problems stacked on top of problems. But um, feeding the homeless is another thing that we've done a lot of. There's some partnerships we have that are going to be happening, and events we're going to be having happen over the next few months. You know what I mean, involving COVID and feeding those in need and that type of thing as well.
Right,
So
you've been well known for that work for a
yeah.
very long time, and I commend you and I appreciate you for doing that because it's needed, and you don't see a lot of artists really stepping out like that in the way that you do, man. And I just
Hmm.
want to let you know that that is appreciated, bro.
Hmm. No, I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you, man. We gotta lead by example, and that's what we intend to do with the foundation.
Wonderful. So really quick before we wrap up, I want to talk about. Are you ever going to get back on the radio, bro? Or are you? What's up with you on the radio, man?
Hey man, I would love it, man. Anybody got a job for me? Holla at me. Like
Yo,
I'm
Al Payne, the
yeah,
program director of
yeah,
WHUR, and
yeah.
also our general manager, Sean Plater. They're both watching this right
Shout out
now.
shout out to Al and Sean. I'm definitely down to work, man. I'm definitely down to work.
And we already know you can do it, man. I mean,
Oh, no doubt, no doubt, no doubt.
you would
I
kill you
enjoy.
would kill that.
I enjoy it, man. I just right now, I've been having a lot of fun. Well, I do a slow jam curated show, which is like a playlist that I personally curate. So the whole thing about that is you never know what I'm gonna play, but I always play that right thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah,
You've
so
been
it's
hanging around enough DJs. You know what to play.
yeah, man. You know what I mean? So it's just it's an art form to it, and I just try to anything that I do, I just want it to be, I want to be great at it. I want to learn and grow. You know what I mean? And I've been doing some acting as well. So for those that are in quarantine, Netflix and chilling, love.com. The movie is out. Check that out. On Netflix. So between the acting and the foundation and of course the artist thing, which is on cruise control, I would love to get back into to radio, man. At some
Oh,
point.
We will talk about that.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about
All
that.
right, cool.
Now, really quick, man. Thank you so much for your time. I'm gonna give you the last word. I mean, you spoke earlier about the time that we're in, the vibrations that we're feeling, and I want to give you an opportunity to speak to everybody that's watching this, just giving them some inspiration and hope and some light at the end of the tunnel in regards to what we're currently experiencing right now with this pandemic.
I think for anything, for the main thing I want to point out for like more so for the new millennials in particular is like, because I think sometimes they don't know how to process this or like, you know, this is something in this period we have to mentally condition ourselves to understand that this is something that is going to forever reshape the way that we move on this planet, not just in the DMV, not just in DC, not just in New York. Things is going to move differently. Things are moving differently. The world is still moving. You know what I mean? I think it's safe to say that we are now entering the era of what I used to talk about asset and liability. You know what I mean? Either you an asset or you a liability, and you a liability that makes you expendable. You know what I mean? So you have to ask yourself, you know, that's down to the line of work you in. You know what I mean? It may be times, don't wait for that pink slip to reinvent yourself. You know what I mean? Because if the writing's on the wall, a lot of these companies are downsizing. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's a downsizing happening within even the music business right now.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it's because a lot of artists is just like, no disrespect to nobody, but they just ain't talking about nothing. So they're expendable. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, so this is this period in time is going to separate the men from the boys, the women from the ladies, the kings from the queen, the king and the queens from, you know, all these other titles that we have, you know. And it's also going to put in perspective what is important. You know what I mean? And so yeah, you know, I just use the time, live within your means. This is that time to support the culture, to support the people that have supported you. You know what I'm saying? Or that, like, you know what I mean? So, you know, because this is what you see is what you get now. It ain't no more. It ain't the smoke and mirrors.
Right.
We at home. You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna see who's gonna have the hustle, who's gonna have the passion, who's gonna have the ambition. And yeah,
the strong gonna survive, right?
The strong's gonna survive. You know, but this is a natural progression of life. You know what I'm saying? It has to happen. You know, more importantly, stay in the house though. Like, don't be a statistic. Don't think that this can't happen to you. You know, and that's for everybody. You know, and because we hear all different types of conspiracies and different things, but I think it's pretty safe to say it ain't safe to be out.
Nope, not at all, man. Raheem, man, everybody.
You know? So use your common sense, man. Use your common sense.
Love you, bro. Thank you so much. We appreciate you, man. Take care of yourself. Stay safe. Kiss them babies, man.
No doubt.
We will see you on the other side, all right?
No doubt. One love, brother.
All right, bro. Peace.
Peace, y'all.
All right. Man, that is our guy, man. That is our guy, Raheem Devaughn. What an incredible artist. Woo, what an incredible artist. Really quick. Thank you so much for tuning in to 96.3 WHUR's HUR at Home. I am Easy Street. That is it for me. I'll be on the radio bright and early tomorrow morning at 10 a.m.